Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Nabors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday, as we're going to have plenty of things to talk about here today, dealing with, yes, college football and the ever-changing landscape that's going on this offseason, as we have statements. We have some statements that mean more than others. We have really just a bunch of nonsense that's going on. So I know we'll dive into that, as well as some of Eric Musselman doing an interview and a podcast talking about his time at Arkansas, with some great times, some great feelings, but also some funny comments that I'm sure we'll talk about. We'll get to your chats and all that great stuff there as well. But Curtis, it's Tuesday. So how are the vibes this Tuesday afternoon?
The vibes are strong this Tuesday afternoon. I basically just busted myself. I was getting ready to call my wife out, and then she walked in the house and handed me 7 Brew. She has been convinced, John, for months that our intro song has an F-bomb in it. And it just doesn't. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what exact point in the song she's talking about. But I keep telling her it doesn't. She's just got to be mishearing something. I'm going to get to the bottom of this after the show. But it cracks me up because I was getting ready to say something about it. Then she walked in. But no, I'm having a good day, man. And honestly, it was nice to see that interview that Muss did, talking about that Gonzaga game and everything. It was nice to just kind of reminisce on an awesome moment with the Razorbacks that involved an actual basketball game, when all we're talking about right now is this nonsense with the courts and Will Wade and LSU, NFL players playing college football. It's crazy, man. So it was nice to just look back on better times.
Yes, it was. It was almost like weird, because we love the nostalgia. We love like the old days of greatness, but it's like with Razorback basketball, it's like, hey, there's still great days. Like, it's still great times right now. But it seems like, some of those things that happened, in our opinion, so long ago are still great to relive. And it was great to hear from Muss, and still got nothing but love for Eric Musselman. I know, some people always feel a certain way anytime a coach leaves or whatever, but always going to have a lot of love for Eric Musselman, and looking forward to talking about some of those comments, because, again, pretty funny stuff and just classic Muss moments from it as all. But, Curtis, it's like, this is maybe not something that's directly involving the Arkansas Razorbacks, but in an indirect way, because we continue to talk about and monitor the nonsense that's going on with college football and college athletics, and who's allowed to play, who's not allowed to play, and all this stuff. Well, you had the statement last night from the SEC that was basically not really a statement. They're like, we do not believe players should be allowed to return from the NFL and play in the SEC, but we're not going to do anything about it. It's like, okay, great. Thank you so much for that. And I know we'll talk about that, but then setting up to this morning, where conference by conference came out and saying, we're going to put this to a vote. We're going to say that there are going to be no allowances of players who were in the NFL or played in the NFL or was in training camp or whatever be allowed to play. Well, just as soon as we got started here, I want to bring this up because I think it's going to be the first domino to fall. This comes from Pete Thamel. Sources say the Big Ten rule banning NFL players from playing Big Ten schools has been unanimously approved by Big Ten ADs, and there's a Big Ten FAR vote in process to formally establish the conference rule. I think the rest of the conference will follow suit. So isn't it nice to actually have a conference and people involved, adults in the room, to come in and say, no, we're not doing this, and banning this nonsense from continuing on?
Yeah, some leagues will just send a strongly worded email expressing their discontent, and others get out there and they're proactive and they do something about it. Maybe this is the Big Ten's world now, and the SEC has been surpassed as the league that's the example for all of college athletics, because they're out there in front of this thing doing something about it. And, whatever, like if the SEC is going to be the copycat league here, and I saw the ACC, and I'm sure the others will get involved, fine if they're going to do it. Now, here's my question. What makes this any different or more enforceable than the NCAA's guidelines that are just getting trounced in court right now? I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe they'll be willing to stand on business with it a little bit more, but this is ridiculous. It kind of, doesn't it just seem silly? Like if you just backtracked a few years ago, or if you didn't know anything about college athletics or whatever, and you saw this, wouldn't you just be like, this wasn't already a thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why is this all of a sudden something that needs to be said here? But that is the world that we live in, my friends. So I think this is very interesting to me. I don't know what's going to come of this, like if it's going to create this grand change or whatever with, these pros coming back and stuff, but it kind of feels like the first real step towards these leagues kind of breaking away from the NCAA, which just kind of rendered itself powerless at this point.
Yeah, it's almost like, when all this kind of stuff started happening, the rule book that the NCAA had put together and worked on for years and years and years was just lit on fire. And so now they're having to have the conferences come back out and be like, okay, we know the NCAA isn't a thing anymore, guys, but you still got to follow some of the rules that they put in place. It's not like, oh, once the NCAA started, you being able to have some leeway doesn't mean every single rule that they've ever put together is a bad rule and it needs to be done away with. That's kind of what it reminds me of in this particular case. And I'm hopeful, Curtis, because like you said, what's the difference between this and the NCAA? Is this going to be enforceable? I think even Ross Dellinger, who again has done a great job on staying on top of it, said that this will probably, without question, actually lead to more lawsuits kind of being brought out and whatnot. But my only hope is that, yes, the NCAA, they have some power in some ways. They own the NCAA tournament, but the conferences are still the ones that have the contracts and the deals with the television markets that get the money. Like everybody, I think, even for like a place like Arkansas, the number one revenue that they get from one entity is just being a part of the SEC. So I'm hopeful that maybe that leverage and that power of having so much money involved will actually put an end to it. But I still think that, again, is it going to mean anything for sure to happen? I hope so. But it also gives the vibe of, okay, is this just a little speed bump in what will be continuing on with the madness?
I hope there's something to what you just said there. Money talks, man. It's like if you can hold that over the heads of the member institutions, maybe there's something to that. I'm wanting to say it was Dan Wolken, and it seems like a Dan Wolken thing to say. Maybe it was somebody else that mentioned, one way to get member institutions to comply is for their ADs or presidents to agree to fire coaches for insubordination if they skirt the rules and try to do this. It's like, yeah, you can do it, but we can also fire you because it's a clear, even like a university guideline that's saying, make it like part of contracts or whatever. I have no idea how enforceable any of it's going to be. I do think it's a good thing that the leagues are trying to take a stand and do something about it. At least I don't know how far it's going to get them, but this is insane. And I kind of thought maybe we'll get to this point a little bit earlier, but I do understand why, dudes who were playing in NFL preseason games on television 2 nights ago who are now signing at LSU or wherever else, like, okay, there's your breaking point. Like, it's one thing for, a dude who was playing in the G League where you got to have an NBA TV, subscription or whatever to be able to watch them. It's another thing for dudes out there on a field playing in an NFL game, whether it's a preseason game or not, to come back and play college football. That's probably a bridge too far in most people's eyes.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm just happy that they are continuing to try and figure things out and navigate through it. But to your point previously, when you were bringing up like the SEC compared to the Big Ten, I never really thought of it at any point in time, like where obviously, yeah, listen, the Big Ten had won on the field, is definitely doing pretty well. And as well as on the court. I mean, they've won the last 3 national championships in college football with 3 different teams. They won, of course, the national championship in basketball this past season with Michigan.
First time in a long time.
Yeah. What was it, since Michigan State?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about like 26 years, 25 years, whatever. Long time. Now, other conferences like the SEC own baseball and all that, but the 2 biggest ones, definitely by the Big Ten. And I've always just felt like, competition, it's cyclical, it turns around and all of that. But man, stuff like what happened yesterday and today, am I saying that the SEC has lost its fastball? Maybe, but it is a little concerning how a conference that was always on the forefront of everything and just everything when it came to the SEC network, when it came to expansion, when it came to realignment, when it came to revenue stream, when it came to all of that, suddenly in something that should be pretty common and understandable, it seems like they're just scared. They're playing scared, and I don't know why that's the case right now.
Yeah, it's really weird how quickly this has kind of changed. And I thought if anybody was going to get out in front of this first, that it would be the SEC and Greg Sankey. But lo and behold, here we are, man. And I wonder, in this particular instance, is it because Thinking about this here, was there even a Big Ten school that had tried to participate in this yet?
I don't think, well, it's because that's a great point. I don't think so, but if so, it wasn't anybody of like really big note. You know, it's kind of like Arkansas getting Caleb Wooden type of stuff.
Right. Because I look at the Thamel tweet that you had pulled up there, and the thing that stood out to me was that it was unanimously approved by Big Ten ADs. If the SEC puts this to a vote, you think it's going to be unanimously approved? I know one that ain't going to vote in favor. So maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know, but yeah, that's really interesting. Just on that standpoint of things, of kind of being out in front and taking the leadership role, or like almost the spokesperson role for all of the conferences out there. That's always kind of been the SEC, and now all of a sudden it's not. And when you combine that with what you were talking about there with the success in football, and all of a sudden they're winning basketball natties, and so they're like doing it on the field and the court, and now they're becoming the voice of the other conferences out there. I don't know, man. Is the SEC taking a little bit of a step back? Maybe they are.
Maybe so, because listen, we all know that as big as the conferences are, it's about the schools that are in the conference. You know, with the SEC, yes, have they added schools? Yes, but the big deal was when they added Oklahoma and Texas. You know, it wasn't like they were just adding random teams. They were adding massive brands. And I'm just wondering, and this is a great example of the LSU thing, that maybe the SEC played their hand where they're like, hey, we're going to get the biggest brands, the biggest names, the biggest schools, the biggest deals. And, you know, we're going to win at a high level and all this. Where in something like this, suddenly it's like, because of almost the ego and the larger than life of these individual schools have, they're kind of like, well, no, SEC, you're great and all, but we're LSU though. It's like, we like being in the conference and all, but we don't need you. We could be on the phone tomorrow, and the Big Ten's probably going to call us up, or Big 12 or whoever, and they'll give us a bunch of money. And it's almost like they hired all these, like almost like a business, like you hired all of these incredible big personalities, but managing the egos now have become a problem, to where I never thought I'd see the day where they'd be scared of one of their own schools. But you're right. It's like, it's easy to do when everything's unanimous, when all the schools are on board, where they're, you know, whether it was, what was it, COVID? I remember the SEC was ahead of it, of like, no, we're going to play, because, and all the schools are like, yeah, we want to play because we know how much money it means. But suddenly when you got a lot of schools that are maybe against it, but then one of, if not your biggest brand, and LSU's like doing all this and at the forefront of all of it, it's kind of like, well, we don't want to upset them. We don't want to make them mad. It's just it's kind of sad. It's really sad that the SEC has become this right now.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I think back to what you were talking about with COVID there. And so the SEC knew they were going to play, and they did things their way. The Big Ten did it a little bit differently, and maybe some other conferences too. I just remember when it came time to like college football playoff selection, everything, the criteria was like different for the different leagues. And it was kind of hard to figure out. What I worry about, I don't know, I guess exactly what that would look like with football or basketball or whatever, but if there's a difference in league by league, who is allowed to play versus who's not allowed to play, these are the regulations and guidelines we're actually going to follow and enforce, versus these other leagues, we're going to have those same conversations when it comes time for college football playoff again, or March Madness or whatever, where you might be on a level playing field in your own league, but if you're competing for national championships, it might be completely different. So then what is it going to look like? Are there going to be people complaining about it if I'm an SEC school that gets a bid to the playoff and I draw a Big Ten school, and, you know, the Big Ten, they can't play these ex-NFL guys, but LSU has a roster full of them? What is that going to look like? You know, are they going to, you know, fight it? Are they going to complain about it? Because the NCAA doesn't have any purview over any of this. I don't know. It's just, it's going to be really weird. I would hope, the point that I'm getting to is, if the Big Ten has laid out this framework, hopefully the SEC's is very similar, and the ACC and whoever else, because if you're going to do it league by league, that's fine, but there still needs to be like a level of consistency. Otherwise, you're just going to run into more headaches as you get further and further along down the road.
Yeah. And I think that they're going to continue to be little like hiccups and things across the way. But I know we'll get into some other things too, but it's just hearing Lane Kiffin when he was speaking yesterday. And I know a lot of LSU people, which I respect a lot of the LSU people in the media and all that. It's, of course, they're kind of like doing the thing of like, hey, well, if it's a problem, then, you know, make it illegal. If it's not illegal to do. And I think even Kiffin brought up, he's like, well, you know, if we don't get him, then he's going to go play against us and all of this. But if you have the rule, then okay, well, we won't do it. It's like, okay, So if the SEC makes this rule, Lane and everybody, does that mean you're going to stop and you're not going to go along with these lawsuits and you're going to be like, hey, listen, guys, I get it, but the rule says this. It's what the SEC says, so therefore we got to adhere to it. I have a hard time believing he's going to do that. I think they're probably going to continue to try to hammer it and try to continue to find loopholes and all of that until they can get their way, which is really going to cause a lot of problems and a lot of disdain. Because it's just, I think I think a lot of people brought it up, but the thing about like the Charles Bediako thing, like so long ago, but yet it was like, that seems like small potatoes compared to what some of the nonsense that's going on right now. Or remember the Sorsby thing, which I know was a different deal, but it was like, that's kind of seemed like, hey, everybody band together and said, this can't happen. And finally someone buckled. This is one of those things that I'm just a little disappointed that not everybody is, when I say everybody, like schools like LSU and everybody just like, dude, I get it, but it's like you got to do what's right. Just do what's right here.
You do, yeah, and that's another really interesting aspect of this. Is I think about on the basketball front, like the Bediako thing. That was a very controversial ordeal, and it was the deal that went through the courts, and then they got it overturned, and he was out in the middle of the year, and it's just wild to me that now the RJ Lewis situation at LSU plays out. It's kind of the same deal here, and they just get this Baton Rouge judge who you knew was going to wind up approving it, and they're putting themselves in the exact same situation, and it's just everybody is trying to find ways to get a competitive advantage, and that's fine, that's okay. But it seems like what LSU is doing in football, in basketball, it's like everything they do from a roster building standpoint, it's a slap in the face of everybody else who has a rule or whatever. It's like, we're going to do this and you're not going to do anything about it. And we've already seen a precedent set otherwise, but we're going to go this route anyway. Challenge us. Go ahead. It's almost like they're daring somebody to do something here. So now that it's going to wind up happening, I just wonder how hard is, the SEC or the NCAA, whoever, going to fight this back at them, because you're going to rub a lot of people the wrong way if the folks who wind up getting the benefit from all this are the Will Wades of the world and the Lane Kiffins of the world and everything else. And it might create some headaches and some, crap storms and everything else. But I'm with you from the standpoint of like, when is enough? Like at some point, something has to matter here. And there's got to be a line that's drawn in the sand that you just can't cross. And LSU seems to be the place that is pushing those boundaries as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, again, I'll give them credit for trying, but it's getting out of control. And I know there's been some other news and stuff going on with not just LSU's football program or even basketball program, but even women's basketball has had some.
They're trying to one up each other over there. It's crazy.
I'm telling you, it's like I was trying to think of what even to compare it to, and I don't even know if there is a comparison, at least not in the modern day of college athletics. It just almost just reminds me of like Sodom and Gomorrah, where it's just like, hey, we're just trying to have as horrible things and do some things to try to cause controversy as much as possible, and so you could have the latest news. Who knows? Maybe they're trying to help each other out. Like, hey, I'll do this so I can take away the fire and attention from you. I don't really know, but it's wild. It is absolutely wild right now. So, but we'll get into some of those things too. We'll get to your chats as well here on the show, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in, but want to remind you that, of course, with BetSaracen, Arkansas's #1 sports wagering app, you can get in on all the action this upcoming football season. It's right around the corner. I mean, we're talking about 11 days to Razorback football. We got college football this weekend. Even if you're wanting to get on top of it and start winning some big money because you're feeling strong, you're feeling good about some of these spreads, some of these future bets, from some of all that stuff, hey, do it with BetSaracen. It's a really easy thing to do. You just scan the QR code right there on your screen, or you can click the link in the description below, because when you do that, it'll take you right over to where you can download the app. And when you do, be sure to use code INSIDEAR250. That's INSIDEAR250. Because when you bet $25, you get $250. It's free money to wager with. So if you're feeling good about Arkansas or about anybody, be sure to do it with BetSaracen and win that big money. Again, scan the QR code, click the link in the description below, use code INSIDEAR250 to get $250 when you bet $25 with BetSaracen. So I guess I just saw you retweet it, Curtis, because as we're kind of like in real time here from On3, says SEC leaders are meeting as LSU's push to add former NFL players divides the league. Big Ten bans returnees, and the ACC meets Wednesday. One SEC AD said LSU should face disqualification or $1 million fine if either player plays. Something has to be done. This is the worst I've seen.
So
yeah.
There's the money thing.
Yep.
Hit him where it hurts, man, right in the wallet. I think that's fair.
I do too, dude. I do too. I don't
got to do something.
I don't know if it like $1 million, because listen, $1 million is a lot of money, but is that something that like LSU would really be like scoff at? Be like, well, wait, hold on, let's not get crazy. I mean, is $1 million going to do that? I don't know, but this is because I forgot what movie it was, but when they were like, it seems like the only thing you kids listen to is your wallet. It's like, that's the only thing that gets to you. That's the only thing that will ever make you do anything. And that's, I think, why I'm disappointed with the SEC. I'm not saying they have to pull the Trump card of every time being like, do this or I will take all your money away. But this is, if you're wanting to like actually push it, this is the way you're going to do it. Because we all know it's about the money. And if you threaten to take away money, you're going to hit them where it hurts. And, you know, if they can do a lawsuit, and this is what I was trying to talk about yesterday, if they do a lawsuit, say, fine. You can pay all the legal fees. You can do all the lawyer fees. We'll go to court. We'll do all that stuff. Fine. But like this, to me, is the only way you're going to get things done. If you start threatening or you start handing out punishments or whatever, that's going to hit the bank book. That's the only thing you can do at this point.
What do you think LSU is going to do here? I mean, they're just going to take these guys and be like, all right, do it.
I mean,
probably, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I just like because here's the deal is, we saw how far, and I know it's different, how far Texas Tech was willing to go for a freaking quarterback that wasn't even that great.
Not even that good, yeah.
Yeah, like, and I know LSU's different, but like LSU has kind of set the standard and has made it very clear. They don't care. They don't care about the Brian Kelly fiasco. They don't care about the Lane Kiffin fiasco. They don't care about the Will Wade fiasco. They don't care about any of it. They're like, good. Like they got, remember what was it? The governor got involved. Remember that? Like the governor did a press conference like, we need to fire Brian Kelly. It's like, what is happening? It's like the entire government's involved down there. So I think that they are just going to continue to try to push it. But I don't know, man. This is it's almost like at an impasse where it's like, hey, make your move and let's see what happens. And I don't know who wins. I honestly don't know who wins.
Probably LSU, and that's what the crazy thing is about all of this. But yeah, I mean, we'll just have to, I guess, wait and see what the SEC winds up doing and coming up with here. I'm going to be so anxious to see that tweet because I imagine whatever they do will get approved or voted in favor of, but it's probably not going to be unanimous. And I just wonder how many, votes against there are going to be. Will it just be one? And then we're like, okay, well, LSU obviously, or if there's going to be more that are out there. So it's going to be. It's unprecedented times that we're living in. And the crazy thing about it is, John, it's Tuesday. There's football on Saturday, dude. I mean, it's here. The season is here. And we're doing all this in terms of who can and can't play in games that are getting ready to start in like 4 days.
Yeah, this is like late June stuff is what it should be. It's like late June stuff. But yeah, I'm with you, man. And another point too, about the like LSU side of things and all of this, it's like, you ask like what's going to happen or what are they going to do when the article, and let me just make sure I quote it right, says that LSU, that SEC leaders are meeting in LSU's push to add former NFL players divides the league. So I'm wondering, divides as in like, is it 8-8, for and against? Is it just LSU on its own? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, divide. So who would be on the side of LSU unless that said school was wanting to do it? Like, I don't know. I feel like this might be something, Curtis, where the big schools are probably like, the Texas, the Georgias, want to at least leave the option open for them. But I would be extremely disappointed if it comes out and we hear about what schools are in favor of this and are saying, you know what LSU's doing is fine. Like, we want that. I just can't imagine that many schools doing it. I'm literally just taking something that I either read in here or on the Discord and didn't research and running with it as fact. Did Ryan Silverfield say something at the Little Rock Touchdown Club yesterday about looking at those types of players? So I'd have to go back and get the quote because I don't want to misquote him, but it definitely was something to where it was kind of like a vague, I think it wasn't sitting there being like, we're above this and we're not doing it. It was more of like, that's kind of the way it is. And we're just trying to keep up to date on it. And, we're with our compliance. I think it was just one of those kind of, we're not saying no, but we're not saying yes either.
So, I mean, maybe we're supposed to be Team LSU. I don't know. Like, who the hell Silverfield might be? He might be bringing in a ringer, man. You never know. So maybe Arkansas is going to be one that votes against it. Wouldn't that be something? Imagine Pete Thamel putting out a tweet and it's like, yeah, they voted to approve this new legislation, but it wasn't unanimous. LSU and Arkansas voted against.
Dude, if that happened, I would, yeah, Cal would have a tweet fired off like immediately if that happened. And it would be probably the funniest thing because I'd be like, all right, who's getting paid here? Your check? Are you getting some under the table? Like, what is this? Like, what's going on here? But when he said that it was divided, I'm like, again, if you said just LSU, okay, but who in the world in this conference? And because and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Curtis, I don't think there's any other schools in the conference that have been as anywhere close to the public nature of LSU and trying to do these things and handle the things that the way they're doing. Like, I just don't see it.
No, I'm not seeing it off the top. Like, I mean, from a basketball standpoint, like Texas A&M signed a G Leaguer that got named ineligible. Oklahoma has a guy right now. So, but I don't know that their football teams have been doing the NFL things, but I wonder if, because they're fighting those battles right now, which are somewhat similar, I guess. I think it's different being an NFL preseason game versus being, playing for the G League. But there's also a bunch of dudes like, Kentucky, for example. They went out and got Mark Mitchell, great pickup, but he signed an Exhibit 10. He was playing on Trevin Brazil's team in the Summer League, which is not the equivalent of an NFL preseason game, but it's kind of close right there. And so they're probably, kind of on the side of, well, we kind of do need pros to be able to play. So I wonder if some of it's going to stem from that. I just can't wait to see what this vote looks like. I hope that they get the actual details of who voted what way. They probably won't, but I would be shocked if they come out and say that this was unanimous.
Yeah, and if it comes out of which schools, I'm not saying that it'll like break the conference apart, but it would be like really, because like this will be this is one of those things to where it's like there could be some lines drawn in the sand type of deal of like, oh, so that's how you want to do things over there, school? It's like, so I thought, I had respect for you. I thought you wanted to do things the right way, but I'm not seeing it. And then the other people, who knows, maybe this will lead to a breaking off and suddenly you have the SEC West going one place and the SEC East going place and starting something new. I don't really know. I really don't know. But it's kind of like seeing like your big brother. You have two big brothers and both of them always beat up on you. But then suddenly they're both fighting against each other, and it's kind of weird for you. That's how I feel it is with the SEC right now, where you're like, wait a minute, like why are we fighting about all this stuff? This should be very obvious. This should be very normal. But nope. We got to do our thing. We got to win games. And jeez, man,
yeah. And I'm torn on this because it might be in the best interest for college football if there's just like a breakaway and you kind of figure some things out or whatever. Because I don't think like the NCAA doesn't really have too much to do with the college football playoff. I look at it and I go, the one thing that they've got going for them, the NCAA, that is the most cherished thing in all of sports, is March Madness.
Yes.
The NCAA tournament. And so that's where I get scared about if, leagues start breaking away and, what the heck is all that going to look like? Because I don't mess with my baby here. Leave that alone. So I don't know. I'm nervous about how all this is going down, but it's unprecedented times that we're living in, man.
Yeah.
And people have just been assuming that at some point this kind of stuff was going to happen. Because the further along we get, the more you realize, like, what exactly is it that you do here, NCAA kind of deal. And this just might be the tipping point, the straw that breaks the camel's back. And here we are living it in real time.
I know I keep bringing up analogies, but it reminds me of like, and I'm not saying anything bad against any parents or my parents. Love my parents, but it's kind of like that. When you're a kid growing up, you think your parents are like perfect and everything they say and do is like they're 100% right. And then when you get older, suddenly you're like, no, these are actually flawed people that make mistakes too. That's kind of how it feels right now. Is like, you said keep waiting for it finally someone to stand. It's going to figure itself out. It's like no, because now you're starting to see that it's just such a problem, man. This is why you shouldn't need a college sports czar to handle it all. Because you mentioned the NCAA tournament. That's what makes this even crazier. Because it'd be one thing if the NCAA owned the college football playoff. They don't. They have no connection. So who knows? Maybe it's something to where, hey, college football pops itself off to be something different, but then that'd almost be like the best of all worlds at this point in time. Yeah, because it's like, I better hear the CBS theme in March, like playing with Arkansas being in it, and having all that same stuff. Like, say what you want about the NCAA and all of that. And should they have done more? Yes. Should they have done something different? Yes. But this is like, I think this has snowballed into something that's even crazier than I think anybody could have ever imagined. And I don't know what the end is. But all I know is, like you said, Curtis, we got football. We got football in a few days. So let's just get to that point.
North Alabama and Sanford ain't stopping for nobody.
Nope, not at all.
This craziness is not going to stop Bill Belichick and Bobby Petrino from getting after TCU. Okay,
that's right. They're probably already in Ireland, man, having some Fosters, like sipping there at the pub, like singing some Irish drinking songs. Like, yeah, they're ready for the season to start up, man, for sure. So, but we'll have some other things to get into here on the show. But want to remind everybody that, of course, Blue Ember Smokehouse is your #1 place for all barbecue. We love Blue Ember Smokehouse. We love going there each and every first Wednesday of the month, which we may switch it up a little bit sometimes here this football season. But next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, we will be live at the Blue Ember Smokehouse in Rogers. Can't wait to get up there, getting you ready for tailgating season, which they have a tailgating package right now for, hey, listen, $70. You're going to get a great deal, a fantastic deal when it comes to feeding 4 to 6 people, depending on your tailgates. Maybe you have a little bit more that you want to add into. Don't worry. They have different packages that they can offer, and yet you can choose from. But they cater it, and you can go pick it up the day of the game, and they're going to have it ready for you. I know they're staying busy. Our guy Peyton over there is staying busy. But if you're interested in that, it feeds 4 to 6 people, 2 meats for the pound each, which is a ton. But brisket's $5 more, but you can get your 2 choices of meats, 2 choices of sides, 6 buns or toast, all of that for $70. So don't wait. Go ahead and get your orders in. You can call the number at one of their 6 locations there on your screen: Fort Smith, Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, or in Rogers. It's Blue Ember Smokehouse. Thank you for supporting your local Blue Ember. Now, I have a random question, Curtis, because I know we've spent a lot of time on this, but to put it in the Arkansas perspective, I had a conversation with somebody this morning, and I want your thought on it. Fans, let's just really like shrink it down to just Razorback fans, because that's who we deal with and talk with every day. And I'm sure a lot of people have opinions in the chat. But if you think about, it's professional sports and all that, it is. It's great, grand, and wonderful. But if they did something to where they branched off, or if like the NFL put together a minor league place to where high level talent, normal SEC level talent, all those guys could just go to that league and get paid. But do you feel like there would still be the passionate Razorback fans if the entire college football landscape got cut when it comes to their talent level? Like suddenly you got something in between the NFL. Do you think the passion and the fanhood would still be there if the talent overall across the league they're playing in was cut in half? Does that make sense when I'm asking?
If that meant they were more competitive and won more football games, probably so.
Yeah.
I would think probably so.
Yeah. Because I was trying to say, I was just trying to say to my buddy I was talking to, him, like, I think fans, and I don't want to speak for every fan, but fans, yes, they want the best players, but if the level playing field happened to where suddenly, instead of having the high level, I'll put it this way, instead of having SEC caliber athletes in the SEC, you drop down to where suddenly you have a group of 5 talent in the SEC across the board. I think fans are still going to be fans because it's still about Arkansas. It's not about the player and the high level talent if everyone's playing by the same rules. Said, I don't know, maybe if I'm not phrasing it right, but I just feel like fans are more just about the school and about that than about, we want to have the highest level talent across our leagues to be playing at the highest level. I don't think it's that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And so I think that most people would probably be on board with it. I think more people would be on board with some of the stuff that's going on right now if Arkansas participated in it more. You know, most LSU fans are like, screw you, for not liking it. Why is that such a big deal? Why can't this guy do this? Whatever. And we would be doing the exact same thing. Like if Cal went out there and added, some dude who was playing in the summer league right now to man the center spot, we'd be all over it. And, if Silverfield was getting more high profile guys in similar position, or if they went and got the tight end from Ole Miss or whatever, we'd be like, heck yeah, man. That's kind of part of it too. But no, I think so. As long as you're in a situation where you're able to compete and find a level of success, people are going to be interested. They're going to be excited about it. And I think it's kind of the ridiculous nature of what's going on right now that's starting to sour a lot of people right now, because you don't feel that way and you don't feel like everybody's playing by the same rules. And I think that's what rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah, no, and I fully agree. And I think you even tweeted out, maybe it was last night, when you were saying like, I could use a Cal tweet right now. It's like, damn, man, I'm wondering, do you think Cal's even like, because he took a vacation, right? I don't know if he's still on vacation, but I'm like, in fact, I guess we can look it up. When was the last time Cal tweeted?
It's been a week.
You know?
No, I've been paying attention. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a week ago today.
Okay.
Was the last time that he tweeted something out, and like, he doesn't have to say anything. It's not like there's coaches across the country weighing in on this right now publicly, but Cal he's our guy, but he's also like one of the most prominent voices in college athletics. And people listen to what he says, even though he tells you that they don't. And he's always been very outspoken and opinionated on all this stuff. And he'll, get on whatever show or podcast or radio, that he possibly can, and let the world know how he feels. And when there are updates with the Protect College Sports Act and everything like that, he's tweeting out his thoughts and everything. And he's just like ominously silent during all of this right now. And it's not lost on me. I keep waiting for him to say something here.
I kept waiting and seeing if maybe he was doing the Ryan Silverfield. Like, I'm not on social media. Like, maybe he took like a social media sabbatical, and he just comes back and he's just like, whoa, what the crap happened while I was gone? Like, what is all this happening? What is all this going on? Like, I don't know if that was the case, but yeah, it's almost like he's the preacher at the local church when the local church is all like battling it out. They're like, but we need the preacher, please. Like, you are a voice of authority in here. Like, we need you to say something. And it's just like not hearing anything. I don't know. But then at the same time, Cal's probably like, hey, I tried telling everybody. I tried saying all this stuff. I've said my stuff about it. It's up to y'all to figure this out. But man, I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
Me either. Yeah. And I've got a couple thoughts on that. Like, maybe, like, I'm sure he's burning up the phones or whatever behind the scenes. Maybe he's just waiting to see what comes of this, these meetings or whatever that are being had today or over the course of the next couple of days, to where once something is said, he will release his thoughts or opinions on it. I don't know. But I hope it's not, and I don't think it is, but I hope it's not a situation where he's just kind of like throwing his hands up at it and being like, man, screw this. Because I always, in the back of my mind, remember what he said about like, no, I'm going to keep doing this until I feed so many families. But if it becomes, transactional, not transformational, I'm out. Yeah. And this is literally what's happening in real time. So he seemed like he was vibing in the Bahamas, and that he's, really excited about this team. And I think his way of not letting this kind of stuff get to him and bother him too much is that he's still doing things the way he always has. And he's got this team full of really talented freshmen that he's going to be able to go to war with and everything. And he can make his statement by going out and having a lot of success doing it the way he feels like it should be done. But yeah, I hope that it doesn't get the silliness to the point where he's like, F this, I'm out or whatever, and pulls a Bruce Pearl. That would really upset me in a lot of ways. And I don't think that's something that's happening, but I would like him to just tweet something out and tell us how he feels. Yeah.
Well, I will say
on the show if he wants to.
Yeah, listen, I'll send him the link. I'll give him the invite. But I'll say this, and I don't always, I'm not promoting it now, but I kind of am. If that doomsday scenario that you talked about laid out where Cal is just like, I'm leaving, I'm not saying that there needs to be any violence, but Razorback fans as a collective, you need to find your way to the campus and to the practice center. And you need to stand in front of the doorway and lock arms and chains and do not let that man leave campus. Like, you need to go up there and you need to protest. Be like, we are not allowing this to happen, Cal. You have to stay here. Please don't go. I mean, you just can't do it that way, man. And I don't think it would. And I don't think he'd do that to that extent. But man, that would be devastating. Especially because you had nothing to, like, we didn't have anything that didn't even to say in the matter. It's not like, Arkansas or the Razorback fans or, it's not like something happened at the school to make him leave. It's like, hey, we didn't have a choice. We didn't do anything. We didn't even have a say. That would suck.
Right. For sure. And I think I feel like Cal is too invested in all of this right now to just kind of wash his hands with it right in the moment. Maybe it'd be a situation where if, all this plays out, and like I said earlier, like if the Will Wades of the world are the ones who are benefiting from all this, and it's going to be completely unregulated and stupid, and there's nothing else they can do about it, then maybe that would be a point where he's like, okay, is it worth it for me anymore? I just don't think we're anywhere near that yet. Hopefully, talk to us, man. Let us know. Let us know how you feel about it. I'm surprised that we don't have anything just yet. And he's probably like doing an interview with Jim Rome or something as we speak, but you know,
probably so. Or, it's going to be funny, and not funny in this way, but like, if he just puts out a tweet that has nothing to do with really anything, like, hey, happy birthday to this guy that I like, or whatever, my buddy over here. And everyone's going to be like, Cal, what? No, that's not what we want to hear. That's great that it's that man's birthday. I'm happy that he's turning 62 years old, but this does not matter. Like, and then he's just going to have literatively like, help us make sense out of all of this. Like, please do it. If that ever happens, though, like I said, that's why the notifications are turned on.
Did you see the Nakos? Can I read to you the Pete Nakos tweet right now? Since I guess it's just what we're doing today.
I mean, listen, it's good
we got
stuff.
some less stuff, but it's like, I mean, here we go. But yeah, Pete Nakos, he just tweeted out on top of that, what you were talking about earlier, where they're having the meetings today. We'll see what happens. But he said one SEC athletic director described the current state of the conference as a quote zoo. Oh. Another added that conference members are making short-sighted decisions. Quote, I am embarrassed for our industry at the selfish, short-sighted decisions that are being made.
Dude.
So we are not in agreement in the SEC because we weren't getting these quotes from the Big Ten, buddy.
Dude, this is, I don't want to be over dramatic. Like this is the type of stuff that starts the beginning of a breakaway. I'm not kidding. Like this is the stuff
truly, like,
because we're talking about the athletic directors, like not, random people. Like we're talking about, if they're saying that, they're saying it's a zoo. The current state is a zoo. That doesn't give me any good vibes.
No,
Where
not
football season's about to start and the entire conference is being labeled by an athletic director of the member of said conference being like, this is a zoo. I'm embarrassed for our industry. And if I'm like, oh my dude, this is bad. This is so bad.
To the point of Frank here in the chat, it is not lost on me that the entire college athletics complex crumbles to the ground and explodes in flames as soon as Andrew leaves the country.
Yep.
He did this. This is
true.
Andrew's fault. So hurry up and get back and fix this, dude. What is going on here?
We all know who to point the finger to. So God bless, man. That is just, that's scary. I mean, it's hopefully they get it resolved and everything, but that's a scary thing to see if it's a zoo right now. 'Cause ego is everything. Money is everything. And there's a lot of involvement with the SEC right now. Sheesh. Unreal. Man, I know we'll talk about some other things, dude, but it is pretty fascinating stuff. But what's also fascinating, the fact that on Thursday, we're going to be live from Vici Aesthetics and Wellness in Springdale, right there off of Sunset, to tell you about all the great services that they have to offer when it comes to look, feeling, and performing at your best. In fact, during our show, we're going to have some of those services, done, like whether it's the M-sculpting machine to get our abs in place. It's football season, so we got to make sure we're in the top physical condition that we can possibly be in, and they're going to help us out with that. But they're also going to be there and telling us more about all the different services when it comes to the latest peptide therapies, whether it's anti-aging, cognitive support, but especially for all you athletes out there, support tissue repair and athletic recovery that can really help you out there too. But hey, if you need that extra energy, how about the vitamin B Mega Burn? Or how about the medical weight loss if you're trying to lose a few more pounds? Or maybe the testosterone replacement therapy? Everything that you need to optimize your energy, health, and confidence, they got for you. And we're looking forward to being there on Thursday. So if you're ready to look, feel, and perform at your best, hit up Vici Aesthetics and Wellness today and tell them that the fellows of Inside Arkansas sent you. You can text that number right there on your screen at 479-343-8424. That's 479-343-8424. You can also check out their website at ViciAestheticsandWellness.com. Again, we'll be live there at their Springville location on Thursday. It's Vici Aesthetics and Wellness. Come conquer with us. So pretty chaotic stuff, but I got to ask you, Curtis, the real important question is, what in the world is R-Dub, Rashad Dabinian, doing? Why is he going on Twitter talking about Arkansas and then doing natural state with the emoji of grinding teeth or however you put it? And like, what's happening right now?
I hope he's planting the seed for his return to the pig. I hope that he's not just going to Arkansas State or something. But,
it would be rough.
So yesterday, well, I guess it was over the weekend, he kind of tweeted out and was like, someone explain to me what's happening here, because I'm a class of 2022. I didn't redshirt. Can I play? What do I need to do? And then I guess it was yesterday or the day before, I saw that he's in one of these lawsuits now trying to get an injunction to be granted another year of eligibility. And then now we see this. Now, this doesn't have to mean anything, because when that blanket eligibility went out while we were in the Bahamas, Malik Ewan tweeted out a picture of him in a Razorback uniform, and there was never any chance of him coming back to the Razorbacks. So, but it is interesting to say the least. And you know what? I don't know that Arkansas needs him, although he had a hell of a good run there at Appalachian State. But I'd take him back. I'd take R-Dub back in a heartbeat. I liked him.
Yeah, no, I did too. I remember back in the Natty State days, he came in. We had a sit-down interview with him.
Yeah, man,
that awesome. Time. Yeah, really good and a good player. So this kind of comes to the thing of like, if Ryan Silverfield wants him, then I want him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, if that's what he wants to do, if he feels like he can help and they can make it work, then I'm for it. But it may, like you said, it may mean nothing. It may just be kind of, putting out some stuff or trying to, or whatever.
They've got more running backs than they know what to do with, but
yeah. But I would say, again, we're playing a lot of like what if scenarios here, but I would say that if that happened, like say if Arkansas and Brian Silverfield added Rashad Dominion, that would start making me wonder if maybe the Sutton lingering problem might be a little bit worse than originally thought. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe they just want to add depth, but that's immediately where my mind would go to, of maybe Sutton Smith is not as healthy as maybe they were originally anticipating, if it comes to that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, he was full go in the scrimmage, but what does that mean?
Right.
We weren't there to be able to see it. And there's been another running back that's been conspicuously absent at times here recently too. And now we just have no idea because we haven't been out there at practice. So yeah, maybe there could be something to that. But then he's also just like he's a pretty decent playmaker and could add to what you have there. But like, if you got to look at it from the standpoint of if you're Rashad Dominion and you see Sutton Smith and Braylon Russell and Cam Settles and Jasper Parker and TJ Hodges, like all these guys, it's like, why would you sign up to come back to that for your final year instead of going somewhere else where you could actually have a role? So yeah, if he did that, it'd be impossible not to look at it and go, so what's really going on here? Like, what does this mean for somebody else? Yeah,
for sure. But I'm sure we'll keep updated on Rashad Dominion and what he ends up doing or what he wants to approach it as. So, but yeah, we'll get to your chats, folks. Really appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out. I do want to get into the things that, you tweeted out about an interview that had to switch gears with Eric Musselman. You remember Eric Musselman, the former Razorback head coach that went to 3 straight Sweet 16s, 2 Elite 8s, all that great stuff. And, he was a lot of fun, kind of rejuvenated and re-energized the Razorback basketball program. And, his exit was definitely interesting, to say the least, not just from like his perspective, but we all remember like the Hunter Yurachek bus video and all that. But either way, he's gone his way over at USC. Arkansas is going their way with John Calipari. But either way, he sat down on a particular podcast with Julian Edelman. For those of you who don't know, it's the Games with Names podcast. And it was a long one. Was it like 2 hours long? Something like that. It was a long podcast and sit down with him. But I talked a lot about his team and everything, but he had some things to say about Arkansas and his time here at Arkansas. And here's one of the things when he's talking about that 2022 team, one that beat Gonzaga and all that. He went into that, but also specifically about a few players.
Really good squad. And this was a team that like the pieces fit. So like we wanted long defensive minded wings and guards. So Devontae Davis was one of the nation's best defenders. Adese Toney, who's played in the G League, was an unbelievable. And he was so great in this game against Gonzaga, blocking shots, getting deflections. And then Stan Amude's played for 3 different NBA teams. He's played for Milwaukee. He's played for San Antonio. Stan, Adese, and Devontae Davis, those 3 guys lengthwise were unbelievable. And then the guy that we like really played off of was Jay Will, because he's such a great passer. And it's super, super interesting because Williams the year before had not started a game. We beat Colgate as Williams coming off the bench. Well, the next game in the NCAA tournament was Williams' first start. We felt like, you're ready now. And the interesting, funny story was Connor Vanover was 7'3". We had told Vanover, do not lose the jump ball against Colgate. because Colgate had a 6'5" center that had a ponytail. And I was like, Connor, at 7'3", do not lose the jump.
Yo.
We lost the jump, true story. When the ball went into the Colgate player's hands off the jump, I yelled at Jay Will to go get Connor out of the game. And as Jay Will walked by, I'm like, you're not coming out the rest of the NCAA tournament. Because he had earned, it was his time to take over that starting role. And he didn't have it all year, didn't even have it going into that NCAA tournament game. But, looking back, I probably should have started the young fella earlier because, he's going to be in the NBA for 12 to 15 years.
Okay, Curtis.
Damn, Connor.
That is there's a lot to unpack there. But when I heard him talk about that, I was like, whoo, shoe buddy. Because you were there in Indianapolis, just like I was in the bubble for the NCAA tournament and watching it and that Colgate game. I don't remember it, but do you remember him going as soon as the game started and going to Jay Will being in? And I tried to go back, but I couldn't find a clip of it, but I don't remember that. Not saying it didn't happen, but oh my goodness, that's quite a story there from that game, man.
It was pretty early. I don't remember if he went up to the scorer's table right away, but I do remember Connor giving up a bucket to that dude right away also, and then it was curtains for him at that point. And that's so, that's so funny because for the longest down the stretch, we were kind of wondering why they were doing this because Connor was starting every game. He was playing 3 minutes, and then you would never see him again. When he would come out the first time, he would never come back in the game because Arkansas's best lineup was clearly with Justin Smith at the 4 and Jay Will at the 5.
Yep.
And it worked, man. And that was a heck of a fun lineup for him. And then they were even better. If Jay Will came out of the game, just playing small ball with Justin Smith at the 5 and going with some other dudes, kind of like a 4-guard lineup or whatever. And so I was always like, are they just putting Connor in for the jump ball? He doesn't even win that many jump balls. And so to hear Muss just come out and say it right there is honestly, that's hilarious, man. I kind of feel bad for Connor because he's a good dude and everything. Wound up accepting the role that he had there. Everybody knew that the other guys had passed him up or whatever. But that is a fact that after that, we didn't see Connor get another start. In fact, did he even play in those games against Texas Tech and ORU and Baylor? I'm not sure if he did.
I don't, if he did, it was just in very limited time. But because I'm not saying that Muss made it personal, but it is kind of funny where I'm like, he got asked about that team the next year, was going through the players.
Connor was on, by the way.
Yeah, Connor was on it. And then when he got to Jay Will, the first thing he brings up is let me take you back to the year before in the NCAA tournament and be like, we had a 7'3" guy that couldn't beat out a 6'5" guy with a ponytail and the jump ball. I'm like, man, just specifically calling that out. It's a funny story though, but it kind of just, made me think back to that year and that run and that team where, you think about Arkansas, hadn't been to the Sweet 16 literally in 25 years. They do get to that point in Hinkle, right? I think is when they beat Texas Tech. But thinking about not only, Justin Smith and those guys, but Moses Moody was the star player on that team. He was a freshman. Devo and Jay Will, true freshmen. And they weren't 5-star players. They're really good, but true freshmen. You had them. And then you had, JD Note, who was the guy off the bench. It just was kind of a fun time where, not saying that was, we can make an argument if that Muss's best team or not, but that was just a really cool game, a cool moment, and a collectiveness of, hey, is this going to work with Muss? And remember that first time of when they finally did it and the feeling it gave you was just awesome. It was absolutely awesome.
That was such a fun team, man. Jalen Tate, loved Jalen Tate. Desi was on that team, and it was playing so much for him right away. And then, when Devo really started to emerge and everything, Desi's role went down and down. And I remember on Selection Sunday when they were at the Indianapolis 500 or something, was where they had the SEC tournament. They flew to Indianapolis. Everything was in the bubble, so they knew they were going to be there. And they were in one of the suites there when it got announced. And it was the coolest thing. We couldn't be there, obviously, but because everything was on Zoom that year. But Mike Kaywood, Like he had Muss come say a few words to us, and then they were just like celebrating. Hey, we're in the tournament, man. This is awesome. And we would just get one player, and he would show up in front of the camera for like 90 seconds, and then he'd move on. And then another guy would just pull up or whatever. And I'll never forget Desi Sills being up there. And it's like, like he played a lot for him in the past couple of years, and his role's kind of diminished, but now he's back, in the NCAA tournament and everything. And he had the biggest smile and the best attitude and everything of all those guys. And then he had some opportunities there in the tournament, but that was a heck of a fun team.
Yeah, it
Jackson, was. Can't forget him. But
yeah, of course, yes, big playmaker there. So yeah, you had him.
He was still on that team, right? Yeah.
Yep, Ethan Henderson. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, man, and it was a really fun team and everything too. Okay, so I do want to continue on and play the clips and everything from us, but if you want to call it some breaking news, Arkansas's just added another player, Curtis.
Yep.
But I love it here. I love it here. It's madness, man. So Arkansas football, folks. We'll get back to the must talk and because there's another really great clip that you want to play. But Arkansas added another defensive back. This is Brylan Green. He is a transfer defensive back from Liberty. It looks like he is a transfer portal ranking of the 3-star. He's at Liberty from 22 to 25, so he's part of that group. But he's 5'9", 159 pounds, and he's a safety. Curtis,
he was an All-American in 2023, by the way. Was this guy playing professionally or no?
I'm trying to get as much info on him as I can, to see if he is, because if he did, then that would be suddenly we're like like doing that. According to the ESPN's, he has no stats recorded in NFL. It's only college.
Okay. So maybe just straight from Liberty. So that's 3 safeties now that they've.
Are we starting to see something here, Curtis? We talked about it when they added Wooden and Sean Williams, which we've seen Wooden on the practice field. Sean Williams, we never did. But adding, is this 3 safeties though? Is it that bad? Is it maybe Sean Williams or something's not eligible? I'm wondering what's going on here.
Yeah, well, neither one of those other guys are eligible at the moment. I don't guess.
Yeah.
I guess you kind of have to wait and see what happens here. But I don't know why this guy's case would be any different. I would have to get a little bit more information. We have time to do some research on it. But I mean, that's 3 guys back here. So they must be sweating whatever's going on at that position, which is interesting because is there an injury or something we don't know about? I like a couple of the pieces back there. We knew they needed some help, but you kind of went and got that. Now you're adding this dude on top of it. It'd be one thing if they were just kind of adding a position here, a position there, filling in, but 3 in one spot tells me that there's some pretty significant concerns about depth and I guess the quality of play that they're going to have there.
Yeah, because when was Wooden and all of them added? Was it about a week ago?
Yeah,
maybe
a week, little over a week.
Yeah, so you're talking about 3 safeties. And again, we'll see about eligibility, but you're talking about 3 safeties getting added in a week leading up to the season.
Right.
Yeah. You're not doing that just because it's depth. You're not adding 3 safeties. It's either got to be that position is dog water and it's really bad, or you have injuries to it and you're needing some people right now.
Right.
Or maybe some of the players that you added a week ago are for sure not going to win their case or not be eligible. So you're just adding another piece there as well.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm starting to understand this a little bit more because I just, the one thing that I knew about this guy, because I had heard about him last night or this morning or whatever, is that he played against Arkansas in that Liberty game way back when. So I was like, this dude's got to be older. He's got to be out of football, but he was a true freshman that year.
Gotcha.
So, which means he's in that 2022 class. So no, I guess he wasn't playing pro or anything like that. So he's a true 5th-year guy. He was on the list in Louisiana that just got an injunction there. So he is technically eligible at the moment. Obviously, the NCAA is going to appeal and everything like that. But kind of the same situation as the other guys. He's just in a state where the injunction is currently in effect.
Okay. Yeah, because I see now he's from Lafayette and everything. So, wow. Okay. Yeah, and he's 5'9", 159 pounds. Not
Okay,
exactly.
yeah, because I guess I didn't hear you say that earlier, and everybody in the chat's like, "Did you say 159 pounds?"
Yes. According
Guess so.
to his On3 profile, yeah, he's 5'9", 159 pounds. So if I'm not mistaken, that might make him the smallest player on the team. You know, I know the track guys were really small, but that might make him small.
Yeah.
Also, Dolly Parton just died.
Yeah. What is going on?
What is this Tuesday afternoon? Dolly Parton has passed away at the age of 80. Man, this is just a day of craziness and madness and chaos. Rest in peace, Dolly Parton.
Tragic, man.
God, see, as soon as we start playing Must clips, all hell breaks loose. Like everything
What
just
else?
starts.
We got a half hour here still.
That's to say we're not even 2/3 away from this. Jeez, this is insanity. But geez, yeah, just really hate that. But we'll keep everybody updated on the situation with Brylan Green, you know, and if we find out more information, because I will say the wide receivers were two of the wide receivers were speaking. I think it was two wide receivers. There's at least one wide receiver speaking today. Or I'm sorry, two players for Arkansas, like D lineman and also an offensive lineman, were speaking about wide receivers today, and the press conference was like an hour late, which I know. Shocking. So I was like, maybe there's a lot of stuff that's been going on. I don't know. That's just crazy. I'm all out of sorts here right now on this, but golly,
There's no way they have scholarship room left.
Yeah,
Unless somebody quit or this, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like and
it
what
doesn't
sucks.
matter.
Well, I guess the next time, because isn't it the Catfish Hole show tomorrow? Right? In the first one tomorrow?
Yep.
So hopefully, maybe he'll say, surely he'll be asked, or somebody would ask about that. So I don't know. Well, we'll find out and we'll keep you updated on it. Good grief, man. That was sometimes it's just the shows when you go in, it's like, it's a slow Tuesday. And suddenly it just all things just go crazy on this too. So we'll play the Must clip. We'll get to your chats, we promise, folks. But of course, want to remind each and every one of you that we have our friends over at Hickey and Hole Law. They're going to have you covered for any of your legal needs. We all know that anytime that you get hit with some craziness, like a court case, dealing with divorce cases, custody cases, criminal cases, civil litigation, personal injury, estate planning, all of it, you need help. You can't do it by yourself. You can't just walk through it by yourself. You need professionals, and the professionals of Hickey and Hole Law are going to have you covered each and every step of the way. It doesn't matter if it's anything that comes to communication, email, phone calls, smoke signals. They're going to be transparent. They're going to be open, and they're going to be upfront with you each and every step of the way. And for you, they have offices in the entire state of Arkansas that you can hit up. Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, and Mena. And it's a simple thing to do. Just call them at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also check out their website at hickeyandhole.com, scanning that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey and Hole Law. Things are about to get better. So, man, yeah, a lot of stuff that's been going on here. But getting back to what we were originally talking about with Muss, this is another clip. Again, a great interview. If anyone wants to check it out with Julia and Edmund. But Muss was asked if Arkansas is a football school or a basketball school. Here's what Muss had to say.
Arkansas a football school or basketball school? Just, side note.
I'm going to speak the truth, right? You want the truth, right?
Yeah, what's the truth? Nothing but the truth.
Lay it on me.
Arkansas is a basketball school.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know
we were
that
arguing backstage.
I know
this.
it's SEC football and everything, but and Coach Pittman was there when I was there, but Arkansas is a hoop school for sure. Doesn't matter who's coaching there. It's a hoop school.
I had to ask.
And baseball.
They have really good baseball.
Forgot about baseball.
Coach Van Horn is the man. That's a
Got
Hall
out.
of Fame baseball coach.
And then who's got the longer money, Walmart or like Purdue Chicken down there at Arkansas?
Yeah, so Tyson Chicken.
Or Tyson.
So there's Tyson
See,
Chicken.
Tyson, I said that.
Tyson, I know it's same thing.
Tyson Chicken, JB Hunt, and Walmart.
Okay, I forgot about Hunt.
Heavy hitters, all
Okay.
three. So when I was coaching Arkansas, let's big shout out to JB Hunt.
Let's go, baby.
But when Coach Cal is there,
He's buddies with the guy.
he's buddies with John Tyson. So
Okay.
now it's all about Tyson Chicken.
Okay, I wasn't sure where the switch came in. That makes sense though. Oh my gosh, we just had to pocket watch real quick. Pocket watch.
We were pocket watching.
Okay, so another great clip there. But we'll start, there's two things really. But first thing, He says it's a hoop school, but I love how he shouts out Dave Van Horn. You know, like just say, hey, let's give our guy some flowers. Hall of Fame coach. We're talking Dave Van Horn's the man. I love that. I love that he still gives him that.
I hate that I still love Eric Musselman, man.
I know, man. He's
Gosh, dang it.
He's so great.
That's pretty cool, man. And I haven't listened to this entire thing yet. I listened to parts of it, but I got to check all that out. Yeah, that was good stuff there. Giving DVH the shout out. I'm glad that he kept it real, you know, because it at this point, what does it matter to him? But when he was like, "Hey, when I was here, shout out to the Hunts, Cal, shout out to Tyson." It's all very, very true. And I mean, you know, it would be easy to look at and say, well, look at the success that Muss had. It's easy for him to say, well, Arkansas is a hoop school. But that also fell in the time where, you know, Pittman had a 9-win season and everything like that. I like that he said that. And I don't know that everybody would agree with it or whatever, but outside of Kentucky in the SEC, if you had to pick, you know, which SEC school is more of a hoop school or cares the most about hoops relative to everybody else, probably Arkansas, man.
Yeah, it has to be. It truly is at this point. And I don't think that's really an argument, but yeah, I love the man still. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe you always appreciate in what you had. It's like the same thing with my love for Bobby Petrino. It's like, you know, it's like, I know it didn't maybe end the way everyone wanted, and maybe it had some issues, but it's like, but I remember how I felt when he was here. And that 2021, 2022 academic year, that's hard to beat. That's hard to beat. Yeah, Arkansas.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, beating Texas and rushing the field in football and going to the Outback Bowl, basketball, the Elite Eight, because that was also the season they beat #1 Auburn, rushed the court, and beating Gonzaga. Baseball goes on a run and goes to Omaha by beating Oklahoma. Like that was peak. That was like peak Razorback Big Three sports that year, and I'm just glad that he was a part of it, man.
That's great. Somebody in the chat was killing me during the first clip that you played. That was like, "Muss, put your leg down, please. Put your leg down, bro. You got to put the leg down."
Hey, listen, it ain't his fault
what
that
happens
they're
in SoCal. You know, the shorts get shorter when you're in Southern California. So
yeah, exactly. Well, hey, it's not his fault. They just need to make the camera adjusted. That's how Muss sits. That's how he does it. We know he's a big shorts guy, so it's not like he's gonna get away from that.
We're live on location. We always make it a point to have the crotch-free shots if we can. So
yeah, because you're gonna have to pay extra for that. That's gonna be the case. So, but love that from Muss. Great interview. Again, if nobody's had a chance to watch it, be sure to check it out. It was really great, and we'll get Cameron in here to read some of our chats and talk about that too. Because again, like, you know, here's the thing is we try to multitask, and you know, sometimes I got to always make sure to pay attention more and lock in for the show itself and stuff. But this has been one of those days to where it's like I'm almost like gun shy to jump over to the Twitters, be like, okay, so what happened now? Like, there's just, you know, not saying that this has been one of the crazy, because real quick, we've done this for over 2 years now. In a live stream, what has been the craziest like breaking news thing that's ever happened during a stream that we've had that we can remember?
Well, this is sort of cheating, like the unexpected, but I mean, obviously going live to say Billy Richmond is staying in the NBA draft, only to 10 minutes later say, just kidding. Psych, gotcha. But like we went live for that breaking news. So I'm trying to think in the middle of one of these shows, something that was just completely unexpected that happened.
Well, I don't think it was, I mean, maybe this is cheating too, but it's like, I remember, of course, during our post game for Kentucky, beating Kentucky is when like the Luka thing happened. And I remember like, but that was a crazy thing, but it was like took so far away from all that. But yeah, I don't know, but we've had some stuff that sometimes has just been, you know, like random. I remember I remember the tennis program, I think got canceled. We were live on air, maybe. Or something like that, maybe just ended. I don't know.
Or like as we were starting, that happened that day.
Yeah, so I don't know.
There's been some other weird.
Yeah, it's like whether a player's left or because anytime a coach got fired, it was on a Sunday morning. You know, like that something happened, or a coach got hired was also on a Sunday morning. So can't really throw in that into the case. So I don't know, but this has definitely been one of the crazier days of just a lot of things happening to where it's almost like with the show prep. The Google Doc, I was like, I'm just going to throw it out. It's like, this is where it's going to go. What's up?
I am going to, you were not on with us. It was just me and Andrew this day where the rumored, like whatever that wound up being, but the active shooter thing on campus, that was one of those days where me and Andrew were having the weird StreamYard issues. Like every time we would pull up one of our ad reads, the audio would go to crap, and we were trying to talk through the show, and everybody was yelling at us because we weren't reporting on the active shooter thing, and we were like, look, we don't know. Here's what we're hearing. It was crazy. That was an absolutely insane day. And like, fortunately, it wound up being a situation where not a bunch of people got hurt and everything like that. But that was about as uncomfortable as I've ever been on the air trying to figure out what to do and what was going on.
Yeah, I do remember that because I was at a charity golf tournament on a Monday. I remember that. Right. Yeah. And I remember I felt so horrible, and I'm like, sorry guys. Like, yeah, it's just like, it sucks, but it's like, what do you do? This is,
we wound up just calling it a day after like 45 minutes. Cause it's like, we're
all the issues. Here. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to cut and get better the next day. This isn't on Inside Arkansas, but I will say the craziest live show I've ever done was when I was literally in the middle of a tornado. I was on at 103.7 The Buzz, and I was doing a live show at Gwatney Chevrolet in Jacksonville, and the tornado was coming down that hit Jack. It was probably people remember that. And it was in the middle of that, like my show. And it's suddenly where it's like the people are around, and I'm in a glass building, like of a car dealership. And the people come there, hey, the tornado's like heading this way. So I was like, all right, everybody got to get off. We'll everybody be safe. We had to go hide in a room. And it was literally like, I think 0.3 miles away, the tornado went right by where I was at. And I was like, that to me was nuts. So hopefully we never get to that situation.
That was like right after we got back from Vegas or something. Is that?
Yeah, it was like in May. It was like in early May. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, that was crazy. But I have a feeling that if we ever get in an involvement like that, I think our internet will probably go out before something like that happens. So might happen. But either way, speaking of a tornado, let's bring in producer Cameron in here to do some of our chats and read through them all and everything. So Cameron, it's been a wild show. In fact, he's been the one in the chat kind of giving us the news as it's come along. So way to stay up on top of it, man.
Y'all were taking me down memory lane there for a minute. I remember that show that day because I was in the studio with just you and Andrew, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then I got spammed with messages, and then the whole chat was freaking out. And then there was people on campus with Nerf weapons. You remember that?
Yep.
That whole thing.
Idiots.
And that blew up, and I think they got suspended or expelled or whatever. That was a weird day. That was a very, very strange day. And I even heard like sirens everywhere around me as that was going on. It was wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll say it's a weird day. I shot a 92 too. It was a weird day, man. It's like, it's just crazy. So anyways.
Do you remember, actually, you talked about, I think, the tornado one. Do you remember the stream where there was a storm? And I guess it was just you three. It was around Halloween, and your electricity went out, and it cut, and it was just you in the dark.
I remember this.
Glowing behind you. That was awesome.
Was it like it was me that my thing went out?
Yeah.
Okay, now I do, because the Hogs by 90 sign was the only thing standing, which is weird. It's like that thing's plugged in. It's not on battery power. So yes, I do. That is funny. I do remember that. We've all had our moments where our stream or our connection went away, and we've had here's what we need to start doing. Maybe Cameron, this could be your new gig. Anytime someone freezes, you have to screenshot it really quick, and we're going to have a compilation one day of just a collection of what faces we made when our stream went out. So
like when you had your neck out and
like that whole thing. And two, also, I know we'll get to chats, but like I remember, I think Curtis, it was you and Scotty were at the SEC basketball tournament. Me and Andrew were back at the old office building, and we were up on the 6th floor. It was like, dude, like a tornado looked like it was about to come in, and we were just live watching the game. It was madness.
Yeah,
chaos.
You guys are doing the tornado watch party, and meanwhile we're watching Arkansas like actively lose to South Carolina or whoever the heck it was that day, and there are people on press row at the SEC tournament coming up to us and being like, so what can you guys tell us about Eric Musselman going to Washington? Everybody's like, oh, he's going to Washington? What? Really? He's taking the head coaching job at Washington? And I'm like, Washington? What the hell are we talking about here? No, there's no way he'd go to Washington. If anything, he'd go back to one of these gigs in Southern California. Little did we know that like 2 weeks later that was actually going to happen. But we were getting bombarded by people because it was basically me, Scotty, and Bob were the only 3 Arkansas media members that were really there because the team stunk that year, so nobody traveled to go down there, and everybody was coming up to us, and it was like, yeah, Washington? Oh, listen, man, I know it sounds crazy, but it sounds like Muss is deep in the running at DePaul. Like, what are we talking about? Meanwhile, in real time, I'm watching Eric Musselman and Hunter Yurachek like chest bump and hug it out after they beat Vanderbilt that night. That was a really weird. That was a weird trip for a lot of reasons, but that was part of it for sure.
Yeah, wild times.
I remember I think it was after the Alabama game that year, that 2023 season, where you and Scotty were like doing like some sort of post game, and it was just like Mekhi Mitchell got fouled. Mekhi Mitchell got fouled. That was like the entire thing. I remember loving that.
Yeah,
love that, man. Yeah, good times, man. Good trek down memory lane. So, what chats do we have today, Cameron?
All right. Well, we're gonna start with one from yesterday that I think we just didn't get to. B. Lanny said, "Swing and misser, not Hunter Yurachek with bomb reseeding."
Oh. Well, I mean, yeah, that was a swing and miss. I did a Sunday Scaries stream talking a lot about that, and the falling out from it. But it's like no one's going to really know the falling out or how much of a falling out, if there is a falling out, until we actually get to see the games and see if like, are there even more empty seats? Are there even more problems? But yeah, it was definitely that was something that just I think everybody should agree with. It sucks. Whether you agree with the reasoning behind it, it just is unfortunate and it sucks. So yeah, that was definitely one.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Hickory Hog, 10 gold coins.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Smile every time I see that little Abby there.
Yeah, it's great, man.
We had Ben Bay. I didn't ever find a follow-up chat, so appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Ben.
And I pretty much agree with whatever it was you were going to say. So.
No doubt.
How might be Mike? How would your views change of the team if Muss was the coach instead of Cal? And if you could give Cal one Muss coaching quality, what would it be?
Ooh.
Oh, probably that. I mean, Muss is just like their level of attention to detail with the game plans and the scouts, like especially at the tournament with those turnarounds like that. It was second to none. And it's not like Cal has struggled with that, at least at Arkansas. I mean, they've won both of their quick turnaround games in the tournament, but that type of stuff was unmatched. So I would probably pass along that trait. How would your views change of this team if Muss was the coach instead of Cal? I would probably be not quite as high on them. Because when Muss went with the heavy freshman squad that year, and I know like the Nick situation and Trevin getting hurt impacted all that, but they did underachieve pretty drastically. Muss seemed to me to be better about getting those older guys, who maybe are a little bit rougher around the edges and getting them to eventually figure it out. But it was always a process. For me, if you're going to have a team that's led by 8 freshmen, there's no better coach in the country to have to be able to do that than John Calipari.
Yeah, and I would agree with you too on like the game plan. I've always said that if you gave me the most talented basketball team and you started the season, it's like, all right, and it's the NCAA tournament, you get to pick your coach. I'm picking Eric Musselman just because, the dude is incredible. Like they shouldn't have won. I don't care what anybody says. Beating 2 back-to-back number 1 overall seeds in the NCAA tournament is insane. Is an absolutely insane thing. And going 8-3 in the NCAA tournament in 3 years is an insane thing. I know that you wanted to go further, but yeah, if it comes down to that, give me Muss when it comes to the game planning, attention to detail for sure.
Yeah, I remember before the Duke game that year, Charles Barkley on the broadcast was like, "Man, I want Mike Krzyzewski to go out on top or whatever, but I'm scared that Muss is going to outcoach him." Like going into that game, and I was like, "Hell yeah, this is awesome!" Like,
Yeah.
Do you think if Jalen Williams would have came back that next year and TB would have stayed healthy, you think that would have been the Final Four team? It would have had to be, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think so for sure.
That team would have been nasty. That
was the one weird thing about that team. Yeah, like they got all the the highly touted freshmen and TB and all that stuff, and then it's like, okay, then you got the Mitchell twins and Jalen Graham. All right, so
let's roll.
Sure, yeah, it makes sense.
All right, we got Hog J. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Well,
that's the motto in Baton Rouge, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hayden Ulmer, appreciate it. Creating separate divisions based off the vote would give off major WCW versus NWO vibes.
Yes, it
It
would.
wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. And I don't, again, I don't think it would happen, and I hope it doesn't. But I don't know. It's every day that goes by just makes me fearful of like, man, I hate all this. Like, I just hate how it's become and what it's become, where every year it just felt like everything was so systematic of like, yeah, we're just getting ready for the season and everything. But just everybody's yelling and everyone's mad. Everyone's trying to do stuff that's shady and there's no rules. And then you got other schools doing things that other schools don't. It's chaos and madness. And I just hope something happens to where we can get our precious and most beloved college sports back, because that's what we're doing here. I mean, we do this because we're talking about the Razorbacks, a college team. Like, college sports is our thing. And I just hate the fact that it's become this, and hopefully it doesn't last too much longer.
So was it today, like just now or something, that Lane Kiffin went on the Pat McAfee show?
Oh, I hadn't seen this.
Because I'm seeing some quotes and stuff pop up now.
He's been on there before, but it's probably for like the first time today.
Who is this guy real quick? The news editor at ESPN. Okay. Yeah, just some stuff from the Pat McAfee show. Okay, so Pete Thamel's quote tweeting this, so I guess it's got to be real.
Yeah.
But I guess Lane Kiffin to the Pat McAfee show, which cuts to the heart of the SEC conundrum here. Quote, this is from Kiffin: I think you're going to get an interesting situation where, as a conference, you're saying we're going to follow this court order, but these kids that got that other court order, we're going to say, no, you can't. And then I guess he was talking about, said Kiffin said, without naming names, that Daquan Wright chose LSU over other schools who offered him. And the quote was, there's all kinds of schools that recruited him. Asked Drew Rosenhaus, his agent, how many schools called and offered him a lot, including in our conference and his previous school, but he chose us. So
This
he just
guy,
rolled Ole Miss under the bus and then other schools in the conference. So he's calling out the hypocrites, man.
this freaking guy, man. Like, come on, man. Like, you didn't have to say, like, he knows what he's doing. He's the ultimate troll. This guy, all he had to do, he could have just left it. He could have just left it at SEC school. But no, you had to go that step further and make sure everyone knew it was Ole Miss. You are a troll to the highest order.
He's a dog, man. I guess they asked him, what he thought about professionals returning to college. And he said, there's a lot of parts of this that I don't like. I don't think professionals should come back to college sports and college football. But in this instance, these are not players who have gone on to play seasons professionally or randomly filed an injunction. This is part of a specific class that was ruled wrong by the NCAA that was supposed to be 5 for 5. So his thought is, if you were a graduating senior that thought your eligibility was over with, and so you wound up getting invited to camp or whatever when you otherwise could have come back if they would just grandfathered you in, those are the ones that he thinks should be an exception. So there you go.
Ah, jeez, man. Like,
Or the moral high ground of Lane Kiffin.
who would have ever, isn't it weird? And I mean this with nothing but respect and love. Isn't it weird that like John Calipari has become the person in the person of note of like trying to actually keep it the way it is and like
Yes.
showing it of like no, I'm doing this for the kids and doing it for this. Because I was like, man, if you had told me 15 years ago, like, hey, by the way, 15 years, not only is John Calipari going to be the Arkansas head basketball coach, but he's also going to be the one that's trying to keep some balance and some semblance and some understanding of college athletics. Like, you're crazy. But that's where we're at right now. Get Lane. You know what? Let's have a debate. Lane Kiffin versus John Calipari. Let's do it. Set it up. Have them discuss it. Sit down for a podcast on this platform. We'll do it. But man, crazy stuff. Another thing happened.
Yeah, I mean, this is notable to me in the basketball world, but from a Oklahoma beat writer, we were just kind of talking about this a minute ago. They added a big man, G League big man who had never played college ball or whatever. So he's trying to do the Bryson Warren thing, but the NCAA has denied, his name is Akolda Gak, his eligibility request, sources tell 24/7 Sports. This has been expected in recent weeks and is why Oklahoma moved quickly to address the center position in the 5 for 5 market. So you had a guy that you knew was going to be ineligible, so you went and added another guy who might be ineligible. But they just signed that Villanova the big man. I thought that was in addition to, and I was like, shoot, man, the Sooners are looking pretty good all of a sudden. But there you have it. So another one of these quote unquote professionals trying to come back and play college that is getting denied by the NCAA. So we'll see what happens from there.
Everything's just straight clown shoes, dude. It's so dumb.
All right, we got B. Lanny, appreciate it. Over under on actual not reported crowd at Cars versus UNA.
Well, it ain't Cars yet, buddy.
65?
Ooh, I'm going lower. Personally.
Like
First game for
I get it, but the 3 o'clock hot is gonna keep a lot, and is because actually I should know this. Is that Labor Day weekend or no? That is Labor Day weekend, right? I think
yeah, I guess it is. It's
so I'm like, I mean, it's not like you're like way far off or anything like that. I was gonna say like, yeah, like 62. But if they get 65,000, I'll be very like, hey, that's really good as far as the actual crowd. But then again, we'll never know what the actual crowd is.
Am I more excited about Razorback football than the fan base? Might be.
Maybe. I mean, I guess we'll have to. Yeah, man. I guess we'll find out at the first crowd. We'll see. How many people
I have not looked at any of the ticket sites yet. You know, it's just like what's available and what the prices are looking like and everything like that. I have no clue. Maybe still a little early for that anyway.
Because is it SeatGeek? Is that the one that like Arkansas is actually partnered with? Which is still weird to me that they're partnered with they're partnered with a ticket site that just jacks up the prices. Like it's still like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of weird. But let's see. Yeah, we'll go over to the old SeatGeek. Hey, you can get into the building for $6. All right.
All right. So maybe.
And if you want to, and that's for, of course, the upper deck. But if you want to sit down in the lower deck, let's see. You can get in for a whopping $28. So per ticket.
Yes, you maybe knock me down $5,000 or so.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. We got Hickory Hog. Wish our resident Louisiana expert was here to give his opinion on LSU athletics.
Yeah. What's his favorite line about them? Nobody associated with LSU is going to see the kingdom of heaven or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he'll have a lot of takes. He's probably just got like a notes pad of like built up thoughts that we may just have to give a Inside Arkansas Live back. All right, Andrew, you just talk the whole time and give us your updates on all the timeline of what happened and your thoughts. So they have to.
That went through my head a few times as this whole thing was going down. I was like, yeah, he'd probably just say they're not going to see the kingdom of heaven.
Yep.
That and Nate Oates, I think he said, were the few people that follow that line of thinking. We got Razor Ramon. Random thought. Curtis looks like a tall, strong scientist that could cure cancer.
It's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. Thank you, Razor Ramon. I appreciate that.
It's amazing how just wearing glasses changes so many people's like idea. Because it's not like you have never been tall because you've been tall. And
the strong is understood.
Of course. And maybe the curing of cancer has definitely been something without the glasses that you've gotten that before. But
the specs probably do. People are like, oh, he must have a little bit of wisdom in there. You know,
hey, listen. I can do the same thing too.
There you go.
You know?
And right away, I'm like, damn, John, you look like you've gained a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, he looks like you actually got your graduate degree there, like something like that. Yeah.
I actually got a true story. Whenever I was in kindergarten, whenever I was in kindergarten, there was all the smarter kids in class had glasses. Like they would do, you know, how they do like guess how many freaking marbles are in the jar or whatever, and whoever would get the closest would get like a toy out of the toy box or whatever. And it was always somebody with glasses. So I came to my mother and I was like, "Can I get glasses?" and I was like thinking it would actually make me smarter if I ended up getting glasses. And I always associated it with intelligence. Smart little kindergarten me always wanted glasses just so I could be as smart as the glasses people, I guess.
Well, 2 quick fun facts is I went to the eye doctor when I was 18 years old, and they said I had 20/10 vision. I never went back because I never want to hear it. I'm like, it will not get improved. I'm going to keep that as long. And 2, my dad wore glasses and contacts his whole life. It's not because he needed them. It's because when he was a kid, he lied on his vision test because he wanted to wear glasses like John Lennon. I'm like, Dad, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. That's but, as a kid, he's like, he literally lied so he could get more vision or more glasses and all that stuff. So crazy times.
That's crazy.
I just want to call this out. That's vile that you bring that up.
Eat dirt.
Yeah.
No, that's the nickname that we gave for Cameron is the dirt eater, dirt dauber, the dirt dauber over here.
Don't call me Dirt Dauber. I know that story. Don't call me that.
Yeah.
All right, wait. Got Jamer's time. I'm so glad Cal is our coach and the voice of reason for our athletic department.
Yeah, I started this earlier. We wound up talking about it all, but I was going to say I wish that he would be the voice of our athletic department right now and say something.
Yeah,
because I'm just super curious to see where his mind is at with all this. Like, if that dude sent one tweet, it would go viral. If he did one radio interview, like whatever, right now, it would get clipped and aggregated like crazy. And I don't know. I just feel like it's a matter of time before it happens. Maybe he's been so busy with the septic tank thing that he just hasn't been able to get around to it yet. I don't know.
He's got his galoshes on. He's just out there just doing his thing, you know. And
here's my conspiracy theory. Maybe Cal just hasn't come out and said anything about any of this because he's behind the scenes, you know, locking up some former professional 5th-year court-ordered big man to come join the team. So
Anthony Davis is coming in.
Yeah, why
DeMarcus Cousins. Yep, getting them all in there.
He really should have just followed up Lane Kiffin on McAfee or whatever it was.
That would have been awesome.
Back to back, that would have been awesome. Yeah. All right, we got Papa Dragon. NCAA dragging their feet and not grandfathering the 5th years in and counting on Congress to pass something put us in this situation.
I mean, this is true.
Yeah.
They should have at least either grandfathered them in or done this at a different time before the offseason started or way later where it didn't matter anymore. But the combination of decisions they made has put them in this spot. It's on them.
Yep.
All right, Trey, was that Wesley? Sorry if I spelled that wrong. In the background, I thought I heard a dad. We need an appearance. What's his thoughts on this?
He would be happy to share his thoughts on anything. I don't know when this happened, but the answer is yes. It probably was him. Very, very talkative today. It was like just a couple minutes ago. He was trying to crawl over here into the office, and I was just hearing dad, 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 dad. Hard to beat. Hard to beat that feeling, man.
Oh man, yeah. I think it was earlier in the show because I think I heard him for a little bit too. But do you remember that viral video? That guy that was doing that, like that British contributor to like CNN was on that interview, and like the kids came back and they were like dancing in there, and then like the babysitter ran in and like was like freaking out and everything. I was like, that's what's gonna happen one day with Curtis. Is just you're gonna see Wesley just dancing right in and just all that. But it's not that serious. But either way, yeah, it's good to hear him. That Haas.
We got Hog on it. I just don't understand how you tell your team when you bring in a player 2 weeks before the season. We care. Honestly, at this rate, open portal season all the way to the season, in my opinion.
And that's something that all these teams have to consider. Like even at Arkansas, for example, we're sitting here questioning, like, okay, you've added 3 safeties, man. What does this say about how you feel about your room? Well, imagine being a safety in that room right now. It's like every day they're adding another guy on a temporary restraining order to come and replace you or help or whatever. I'd be pretty discouraged about that, especially if I was somebody who enrolled in the spring and went through all the summer conditioning programs and all the 120-degree fall camp practices and everything like that, only for some other guy to show up, and be the new flavor of the day at my position. And it's not just at Arkansas; it's anywhere. Well, you have to consider the dynamic of what it looks like to your locker room and how it could impact things. And that's not to say any of these guys they're adding are bad seeds, but it's just the message that it sends that you got to be able to work your way through.
Yeah, and I don't want to be this guy, but I will be this guy. I get it. Not every player's this way, but you could do the role reversal of like coaches probably feel the same way of like kids that transfer out. It's like, hey, listen, you could leave me at the drop of a hat. You could just say, I'm not going to play anymore because I got offered more money and there's nothing I can do or anything. So I'm sure coaches kind of maybe say the same thing. It's like, listen, this is a business now. This is professional in a way. It's like, you can do the same thing to me and I didn't do it to you. And I'm hoping it's just about the communication. Like if Silverfield's doing this, did he at least like communicate it in the effective way of not just like them finding out on social media the added safeties, but was it something of, hey guys, like we're looking to add some more pieces here. We're obviously not where we need to be. Like, I don't know. I really don't know, but still, it's going to be fascinating adding 3 safeties, and 2 of them being 5'9". Like that's the other thing too. 2 of them are being little fellas. I was like, so there must be something about
weird.
because is it Darren Wilson that's the safeties coach? I think. Yeah, and then Ron Roberts. I'm like, is something in the water? Some of you guys love about a 5'9" safety or something? I don't know, but I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I really just hope we don't see the thing where like the Keyshawn Black stock moving from offensive line to defensive line, like they move a receiver back at safety or something like that.
Oh God,
I really don't want to see that again.
No.
That'd be brutal. More Hog 86. Well, your wishes were a blessing, though baby girl came 3 weeks early.
Oh wow,
She's doing great and finally home to prep her for hog ball. Thanks and love this show. Congratulations.
Hey, congratulations! That's awesome news. That's great.
Congrats, man. So you know, what's the name? Like, you know, because we gotta figure that out. We got to give her a shout out because that's what we do
more
here.
Info.
Yeah. And it'd be really cool if the name was one of us, you know, even though none of us are girls. But if you named your girl Curtis, like that'd be pretty cool, you know. I feel like Cameron can go both ways, right?
Yeah,
I don't like the way
Diaz,
no context inside article.
I know. I
Don't
did
put
not mean
that
it though.
in the ether.
Yeah, did not
I
mean
was
it.
trying to
but-
help you avoid that one, but you know.
Oh yeah, it's just like I said, I don't worry, I'm an idiot, so it's gonna happen no matter what. It was like when we were at Blue Ember, and I was like, was it Ellie that was like, oh,
Yeah.
you became a member on your anniversary or whatever it was, and then it was like, no, it was 9 months ago. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not a full year. And I'm like, yeah, don't worry about me, I'm just an idiot. So yeah, we all have it though. Good
Yeah.
grief! But congratulations, more hogs. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Slim Jesus Glazer. I'm glad somebody made this. I did propose this like last week that somebody make a Mika Miranen Glazer account, so I appreciate that. I think this is Dylan Henson that did this. You got to pay extra for that. We'll be on No Context Inside Arkansas soon.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Very
Listen,
likely.
that's going to be the Twitter account that brings us down. I'm just telling you right now. But I've turned the notifications on. Whoever's doing it, again, it's not us. So whatever's doing it, I appreciate at least the efforts. Just don't get us in too much trouble. That's all we ask.
Yeah. Addison Yates, B. Lanny, this is the epitome of disrespect. Now, they really wanted me to bring this one up just so that I could clarify that I do have the ability to say that word. So I granted their wish here. I just brought that up.
You did good.
And lastly, OKC Hog. At this point, let's get Rohan Jones and Traylon Burks back for the Liberty safety. How is he going to learn the playbook this fast, though? Great ad, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think that it's about learning the playbook. A lot of these guys just know how to play. Like, he's been in college football forever. I don't think it's like, I mean, I'm sure there's some adjustments, but it's nothing that a quick few things can't handle, personally.
Yeah, especially on defense. You know, like if he was a receiver or something, and you got to figure out all the route trees and everything like that. Defense, they'll have their certain things that they're doing. He could be playable, I think, quicker on that end of the ball. But also, like, so if he shows up today, he's still got to go through the stupid well, it's not stupid, but like the acclimatization thing where you can only be in helmets, and then you can be in spiders, and then you can be in shoulder pads, and then it's just like 6 days worth of practice before he can even go full pads. So how much is he even going to be able to participate and stuff? You might not even see him against North Alabama. I'd be all for Rohan Jones, but don't sleep on Lockwood, you know?
Yeah, seriously. And also, too, it's like in the NFL, they do this all the time. Like, they add a player to another roster. It's not like, oh, geez, how are they going to learn the playbook? It's like they're adding guys that they probably have done their due diligence where it's not going to be a problem, where they show up on campus, they're like, oh, yeah, I don't know what any of this means. They're like, what? Like, they're high-level football players. Like, they'll know how to adjust quickly. So, yeah. All right. Well, appreciate it, OKC Hog. What a show, needless to say. It's we always have great shows. Every single day is a great show, obviously, and our shows get better each and every time they go along. But fellas, any final thoughts before we roll out of here for the day?
Oh man, I don't think so. I guess my final thought would be everything that we talked about today is entertaining and you know, crazy of a roller coaster ride as it was. It's going to be different tomorrow. Like, tomorrow we'll be able to hop on here and hopefully talk about whatever the SEC concludes from their conversations with the ADs and the presidents and stuff. All this stuff is wild, and we're just trying to take it all in real time. We appreciate everybody for hanging out, and don't worry, like if you're getting tired of this kind of conversation, which is dominating all of the conversations right now around college athletics, the games are starting soon. Like we are almost there where actual football is going to be getting played, and we're excited about that too.
I'm pretty much all thought it out. I think everything that's been said today, there's been enough said. So I'll just say woo pig and cut it at that.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it's been a wild one, but yeah, really appreciate everybody tuning in. We're trying to keep up to date of all the latest when it comes to college athletics, and it's a very fluid situation. So we appreciate everybody tuning in and getting involved and all of that. And rest in peace, Dolly Parton. Really sad. I mean, truly, like it's like Dolly Parton is an icon, a legend, actress, singer. Everybody loves Dolly. So just really sad to see that. And I know that there'll be some more things that we'll discuss tomorrow. And then on Thursday, of course, be at Vici Aesthetics and Wellness. Looking forward to that show as well. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Subscribe to us here on Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page. Follow us on social media, Inside Arkansas as well. And that's going to do it for us today. For Curtis Wilkerson and producer Cameron, I am John Nabors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.